Listen, hatred is a strong word, but I think for Mohammed Ben Sulayem, we can make special exception. So egregious is this chap. Every time he opens his mouth, I have to go scorched earth. Why? Because he's brilliant, so fantastic about making this thing about him each and every single time, notwithstanding the fact that of course he's got bigger fires to fight as far as regulatory body levelling the competitive landscape in Formula One. Of course, safeguarding related parties. They can't even measure nor arbitrate for full starts, for Pete's sake. Lando Norris and Checo Perez both did one earlier on in the season, and just because their transponders were broke, they knew nothing. And yet this dude still wants to be front and centre, as if attention is his first order priority. What are we doing here, ladies and gentlemen? And I shouldn't be surprised at this stage to open up my old Google Chrome and see that this dude is talking more SH1T. But I can't help myself. Again, so frequently does this dude, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, head of the FIA, the regulatory body of Formula One, seize defeat from the jaws of victory. At this point, just sip it. Surely, mate. Surely, just sip it. Because again, I open up motorsport.com this morning and I see another headline talking about Mohammed Ben Sulayem. Not the drivers, not the 52-point delta between Maximilian Verstappen and Lando Norris, not McLaren's heroic efforts to turn around right that ship even, not what's going on with Red Bull's handling dynamic or at Mercer. None of these things that matter. No, it's Mohammed Ben Sulayem pleading victim in this. He says that the British media bias has convicted him of what exactly, Mohammed Ben Sulayem? You are not that important, sir, to convict of anything, lest we forget the body that he heads up, or is supposed to head up at least. All they are is a provider of a service. You would think you would be forgiven for thinking, even by the way that this dude moves, that they are anything but that. This is what motorsport.com says in an exclusive interview with Mohammed Ben Sulayem, the man who heads, in inverted commas, up the FIA, body responsible for regulating the sport that we know and love. Here he's talking about Adrian Newey. Remember, Adrian Newey said of Maximilian Verstappen and indeed Sebastian Vettel, four-time champion, that he feels they've been victimised of sorts, mistreated by the British media. You know what Mohammed Ben Sulayem says? He goes, he agrees. I think they're right, Mohammed Ben Sulayem says. I see he has had his share, Maximilian Verstappen has had his share of mistreatment at the hands of the British biased media. But he continues, and we can argue the toss on that. Do you know what I mean? There is divergence in the F1 community, but you can argue both sides if we're playing balanced acts. But here's what Mohammed Ben Sulayem says, and this is where it gets techie. Yeah, maybe they've mistreated Maximilian Verstappen, but let's talk about me. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a quote. The head of the FIA, the regulatory body responsible for instituting robust controls, getting his arms around Formula One. That's what he says. Let's talk about me, as if he's front and centre, as if he's the one racing these cars at 2,100 million miles an hour. He continues, if you look at the British media and what they did to me, for God's sake, they convicted me of what? What is this dude talking about, Kayla? David, I just don't even understand. Always making this thing about him. I pine for the days of Jean Todt, a man who had his robust controls instituted, who knew how to do his job. Bill Belichick settings in silence. Why does this dude always need to be front and centre, as if he is a Max Verstappen or a Sir Lewis Carl Davidson Hamilton? This, ladies and gents, makes no sense. I do not understand this chap. And again, it wouldn't irk me so bad. I wouldn't have to go scorched earth if he was doing his job. Bill Belichick settings, but he's doing nothing of the sort and has not been doing since his inception of head of the FIA. Don't believe me? Well, how about the time when he posted a picture with him and Prince Andrew and Max Mosley with a view to celebrate the anniversary of the Bahrain Grand Prix? Don't believe me? Well, I will see you that and raise you this. How about the time when he desperately tried to bend and break the rules with a view to secure Fernando Alonso a podium, knowing all the while that Aramco are a senior stakeholder of his and sponsor the car that he was driving? Don't believe me? Well, listen, I will see you that and raise you this. How about the time when he leveraged accusations of prioritising, of conflicting interest even at Susie Wolf and Toto Wolff with zero evidence at hand? How about the time when he talked about women that say that they're intelligent, more intelligent than men? I don't like them. How about the time when he's been incurring extortionate expenses, T&E settings at the hands on the bill of the FIA? How about all those things? And yet he wants to be out here front and centre talking all this rubbish. Lest we forget, by the way, that 9 times out of 10, God tier key personnel, they don't want to be working, reporting into somebody that's attention seeking like this. But you know what? I digress. Because Mohammed bin Sulayem didn't finish there, of course, always outdoing himself as far as his commentary, for God's sake. Can you imagine? Let's talk about me. Does that sound like, you know what? Let me not. He continues. They didn't accuse me of anything, but they keep on going on. And do I care? No. Why? Because what are they after? They are selling and getting more coverage for themselves. Of course, yes. For them, he just misunderstands this, right? This fella, at this point, he just doesn't even get the assignment. But they have no power over me, he continues, and over the FIA. With all due respect to the British media or any other media, they don't have a vote. We are independent. But are you, sir? Really? This is the point? Democratic Federation, of course you should be. So why then are you trying to get Fernando Alonso that podium that he didn't deserve? Because of Aramco, of course. Every single time you publish your annual report, all I hear is transparency, consistency across the board. But when there's an investigation of your behaviour, how comes we don't see the findings, sir? Excuse me, sir, Mohammed bin Sulayem. This makes no sense. This is contradiction in terms, settings, juxtaposition. Indeed, the way in which the FIA conducts its activities, the epitome of oxymoronic. What are we doing? Surely, as at the 3rd of the 10th, 2024, F1 and the FIA deserves better. How do you know? Well, somebody once told me that the mark of a leader is their ability to attract and keep good people at their organisation. Well, let's measure Mohammed bin Sulayem's tenure at using that metric. Why? Because most recently, as at today, we hear Luke Skipper, Director of Communications, has left, gone. Jacob Bangsgaard, Secretary General of Mobility, gone, left the FIA. Natalie Robin, very recently, FIA CEO, gone. Tim Goss, gone. Steve Nielsen, gone. Deborah Mayer, gone. Pierre Ketterer, gone. Edward Floyd, gone. So then Mohammed bin Sulayem, why are you still here?